are covered in mucus, but they don't seem to work in quite the same way that a fly's foot does. Because the frog is so much bigger, the mucus on its toes would have to be thicker to stick it to the glass, and then it couldn't unstick its feet. After all, climbing is as much about letting go as hanging on. When scientists looked closely at this mucus, they were surprised to find that it's not much thicker than water. Easy for the frog to lift its feet, but not sticky enough for it to hang on. The answer to this mystery lies in the fine detail of the frog's toes, a precise pattern of hexagonal plates. Each plate can move separately to line up with any irregularities on the surface, and the canals carry away any excess mucus that might separate the plates from the surface. At smaller scales again, each plate is covered with tiny bumps, the tips of which make close contact with the surface. So close that it's friction that stops a frog sliding down the glass. Which is making car tire manufacturers sit up and take notice. Perhaps new and safer tires based on the toes of a frog? But for sheer sticking power, nothing beats this creature, a gecko. Geckos can race up a vertical wall with no problems. And they can even hang upside down from the ceiling. It's been calculated that a gecko's feet are so sticky that it could support a weight of 25 kilograms before it falls off. All this on dry toes with no kind of adhesive whatsoever. Again, the secret lies in the microscopic detail of the gecko's toes. Like the fly's foot, the gecko's toes are covered in a dense mat of hairs. Moving closer still, each hair branches at the tip into dozens of microscopic hairs, each of which is so tiny that it can get incredibly close to the surface of the wall. So close that it can feel the forces that attract molecules together, the van der Waals forces. The molecules of the gecko's hairs and those of the wall are drawn to each other, and the force, magnified millions of times by the huge number of hairs, produces the incredible stickiness of the gecko's toes. But with such sticking power, unsticking is a real problem. The gecko has to curl its toes to unpeel them from the surface before it can lift its foot. Scientists have developed a sticky tape covered in microscopic pillars that works on the same principle as a gecko's foot. But before they can use it to build their own mechanical geckos, they have to work out a way of unpeeling it, so the robot isn't just stuck in one place. At Case Western Reserve University in Ohio, this little robot has been designed to study just that. The way gecko tape sticks to glass and then unpeels. Once perfected, it should allow much bigger robots to climb as securely as a gecko. Whether climbing, walking, or flying, robots need a way to move their limbs. Often, designers use some sort of motor, where nature uses muscles. But these robots have been designed with devices that mimic the action of muscles. Flexible tubes in the same position as muscles are driven by air pressure, which forces the limbs to bend or straighten. A very similar action to living muscles, and the result is most lifelike. In most animals looked at so far, the energy needed to walk varies in a predictable way with the size of the animal. But nature has come up with one or two surprises. When caribou walk, they use far less energy than predicted by our equations. And when they move from hard ground to soft snow, the energy they use hardly increases. It's not entirely clear how they perform this trick, though their hooves certainly play a part. They're only loosely attached by ligaments, and so can splay out like snowshoes when pressed onto the ground. But the real secret of their success must lie in making each swing of their legs as economic as possible. The caribou's extreme energy efficiency has been shaped by their need to make long treks over snowy landscapes. Each year, they move from more sheltered areas in the south, where they spent the winter, to more exposed coastal slopes, where the females will give birth. Here, the grazing is better, and they should find some respite from uncountable swarms of biting insects. But no one's yet braving these remote, mosquito-infested regions to work on a robo-caribou.